And that comes as the FBI has announced it shut down the hacker group that's known as Lockbit in an effort with intelligence groups in Europe and other places. In fact, a father-son duo in Ukraine were just arrested related to all this. This syndicate has extorted millions and millions of dollars from companies. It was behind nearly a quarter of all the cyber attacks that took place last year, they say. So let's talk to Jamil Jaffer about all of this. Jamil's the founder of the National Security Institute at George Mason University, served as counsel to the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, associate counsel in the second Bush White House, George W. So thank you, Jamil, for coming in again today. Quick question on Julian Assange before we get to this Lockbit situation, if you don't mind. How do you think, how do you think that should all play out? How do you think it all will play out in terms of his extradition fight?
Well, look, this has been going on many years. Julian Assange hid out in the Ecuadorian embassy for many years before they finally kicked him out, getting fed up of his behavior. The UK authorities have now held him for 5 years in prison. There in the UK. The US has sought extradition for quite a while. We're not at the end of the process. It is highly likely that Julian Assange will not succeed in his effort to avoid extradition. That means he'll be sent to the United States and stand trial here in the United States for the crimes that he's committed, including soliciting classified information, including hacking and cracking passwords, and getting people to break into defense systems to take out information. And then he'll likely go to jail if, in fact, those charges are proven true and a jury of his peers finds him guilty. And then the question is, where will he serve his time? Will he serve in the United States, or as the Australians have asked, in Australia? But that's the likely way this thing plays out. There's a possibility that his extradition is rejected, but at this point, it's been long enough European administrations and American administrations likely to go forward at this point, in my view.
All right, we'll follow closely now. The other thing, I mentioned this Lockbit situation. People who follow this world, people like you, they know this is a big deal. And, this gang is responsible for so much of the ransomware attacks that we see. We have the deputy FBI director talking about it, and then we'll set it up, and you could tell us why it's so important or what it all means. Here he is.
For those criminal elements who attempt to exploit online services and damage companies and harm innocent people who are just trying to conduct business and live their lives, we will continue to work relentlessly with our partners around the world to find you, shut you down, and bring you to justice.
All right, so there's a huge ransomware group, a gang essentially, as they say. They're onto them. They've made some arrests. They made some more today. What does it all mean?
Well, look, we're talking about a group that has engaged in over 2,000 attacks on systems, encrypting devices and the like, stolen upwards of $120 million. So we're talking about a very substantive group. The fact that the U.S. government's been able to take over their site, effectively take it down, and potentially access their encryption keys, allowing people to free up the systems that have been locked up, is a huge win for the FBI, a big move forward. It appears they've been cooperating with foreign law enforcement sources as well, and they've taken down a couple of the actual players themselves. So this is a big day and a big win for the FBI and for the U.S. government when it comes to going after one of the biggest ransomware players in the economy.
There's a lot that they're responsible for. Now, Fulton County, Georgia was in the headlines some time ago. They had a lot of their civil services and the like disrupted for weeks. Apparently, this was the group behind that. I know there's a headline today, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, out of Ukraine. Ukraine arresting a father-son duo in this cybercrime bust. There it is from Reuters. So is that where a lot of this stuff goes on? It's related maybe. This is happening in Ukraine, but to Russia, right? So the idea of seeing these arrests, maybe you got them there in Ukraine, but seeing some of these other arrests actually be made and come to fruition, is that far-fetched?
No, the vast majority of these attacks, you're right, are coming out of Russia or Russian-affiliated groups. These are groups that are sanctioned essentially by the Kremlin that don't necessarily act on behalf of the Kremlin, but are acting at with their knowledge and assent. Oftentimes, these are Russian nation-state hackers who then, in their nights and weekends, are operating both for their own pocketbooks and that of the oligarchs. So it's not unusual to see this happening. It is unusual, however, for Ukraine to take action and for the U.S. to be part of that effort. So that's a big win, again, for the government and our relationship with Ukraine, where they're still fighting war against Russia as well.
I always wonder when these stories come out, are we one step ahead or one step behind as the authorities? When you hear about ransomware, is that kind of yesterday's hacking and they're onto something new where we're just prosecuting this, or is the FBI and everybody else right on top of it? What would you say?
Well, look, in cybersecurity and cybercrime, it's just like football. The offense always has the advantage, but the defense can play a good game particularly if they work together in a coordinated fashion. This is a great example of that team effort, not just the United States, but our foreign partners as well, working together with industry to really effectuate an effective attack against what is, at the end of the day, an offense that will always have the advantage because they move first.
Yep, they've hit a lot. I mean, the Children's Hospital, I think that was the other one, right? Chicago, that we talked about that story, Fulton County. So good news, obviously, that they're onto this, and hopefully onto many more like it. Good to see you, Jamil. Thank you very much, as always.
Thanks. Appreciate you having me on.